Welcome into NHL Tonight. First shift for Monday, December the 1st, 2025. EJ Radic here alongside Jason Demers back with me.
All I want for Christmas is you.
To be here with me today.
December 1st, Mariah Carey's back.
That's right. How was your Thanksgiving? We had a big, long weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, you're Canadian, but you've been in the States now for many years. So
Yeah, I bookended. No one else wanted to work, so I kind of bookended the work days. Had a nice, didn't have turkey. I had steak.
Oh, okay.
Kinda really
That's
turned
a
it
thing
around.
now.
Yeah.
That's his thing now. I think Mike Sullivan was asked about Thanksgiving dinner at his house in Boston because he was home with the Rangers playing up there, and he said they had Chinese food. So I guess everybody's doing their own
That's
thing.
a little, that's
hey,
egregious,
Hey,
no?
listen, everybody do you. Out there, you do you,
Yeah.
I do me, everybody's happy.
That's it. Leave
That's
me
right.
alone.
Leave me alone.
I mean, I feel like Thanksgiving's the sides, no?
Well, it could be many
anything
things
you
to
want,
many
yeah.
people.
But
That's
leave
right.
us
For
alone.
me, I'm old, so I'm turkey and stuffing.
Yes,
I'm good to go.
that's it.
Too much so this time, so I'll dial it back.
Took a couple days off on the IR.
Couple days, little
Yeah.
break. But hey, let's get to first things first. We got a busy show today. We're going to have Julian Brisbois join us from the Tampa Bay Lightning. We got John Van Beeswick checking in as well, so we'll talk to those two fine guests. But let's start with this game last night. It was a strange game in Chicago. The Hawks have been struggling a little bit lately after a good start. Two really good young teams. The Ducks led 3-0 early, but the Hawks rallied and got it done. They win it 5-3, an empty net goal. Bedard chirping a little bit at the end with his buddy Mason McTavish. They got into it. But for Connor Bedard, 4-point night. He continues to roll on and just keep doing the things that everybody really thought he was going to do when he came into the league as the first overall pick a couple years back.
Well, we expected it. To see the turnaround from last year, but it was a character win. You know, they're down 3-0, and Blashill talked after the game just about how, hey, stick to it. We got to get back to our game. I think Spencer Knight, after giving up 3, made some amazing saves to keep him in it. And they just kind of clawed their way back. But this is a different Chicago Blackhawks team. With years past, you would have seen them probably end up giving up 7, 8. So they really battled back, and they're right firmly in this playoff hunt.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, I mean, you can't say enough about what Connor Bedard's done this year, wanting the puck, being more tenacious. You see the fire in the belly with him and McTavish. I love that from him, big time.
Yeah, and you can see the numbers that Connor Bedard is putting up, and already through 25 games.
Pretty good, no?
Well over a point a game. Really impressive. And I think to your point about the Hawks and how they are different this year, and I think this is the case with all teams that are trying to kind of make a move forward. We had Jeff Blashill on the show last week. They were in the midst of that losing streak. The key for the Hawks in staying in the mix is you can't have long losing streaks.
Yeah.
You have to get back on track, and so that's why it was so important for them to finally do that last night against Anaheim, because that's how you get to the playoffs, is by really limiting those stretches where you're struggling.
Yeah, well, they had a good start at the start of the
Great
season,
start.
so you bank points, and you just got to keep banking points, keep your head above water. You can't have those, to your point, you try to limit the best teams I played on. We always tried to limit, you're not losing 2 in a row.
Yeah.
That's number one goal, and then obviously the line is to move if you do end up losing 2 in a row. But you have to hate losing more than you want to win.
Exactly.
And you hear that, it's cliche, but that's what you need, and you kind of see the makings of the Chicago Blackhawks team. All this youth, they're starting to really believe that they have something there, and it's been fun. You look at this matchup, Ducks Blackhawks. This has kind of been nothing for the past couple years, and now we're starting to see the old kind of not the dynasties of the
But we
Ducks,
had those great
we
Ducks
had those
and
great
Blackhawks
runs.
teams that played in the teens there, 12, 13, 14,
09 to 15, 16.
Yeah, they
and
were
those were
really good
amazing
teams,
rivalry.
great matchups, and they played in some playoff series that went right to the end. So I think we're probably getting back to that in the not too distant future.
Sunday they play again, and at the end,
Anaheim.
McTavish and Bedard.
Yeah, and they're
friends to enemies.
Yeah.
Foes.
You know what I love, though, about that whole thing is Connor Murphy came in like a bat out of hell and jumped on McTavish, and that told me right away that Connor Murphy, for one, understands his role. Nobody, and I mean nobody, fools with Connor Bedard.
Don't touch him.
I mean, that's
Don't
the way it
touch
is.
him.
But you got to understand what your role is there. And as soon as somebody jumped on him, he jumped right in.
Yeah, a little old school mentality of you have to establish that early, because I do feel like Connor Bedard does kind of get picked on a little bit around the league, and he does play hard, and he does kind of.
And that's going to happen.
He's got a fire to him.
Tested.
Yeah, he's going to be tested, but you need to be there to back him up.
That's right.
To allow him to continue to play that way.
So tricky times, challenging times ahead for the Hawks. 8 of the next 10 on the road. So we'll see if
Test your
they
mettle.
can get going and continue moving in the right direction. But it's been an interesting year for the Hawks so far, better than expected. It was last couple of days. They had the holiday weekend. The injuries continued to be a problem all around the league. And Adam Fox with the New York Rangers, who was calling the game, NHL Network Showcase on Saturday. It seemed like just kind of a hit into the corner, but Hagel delivers that hit on Fox. Fox goes down, slow to get up, goes to the bench, eventually goes to the room, and now we find out he's week to week and it looks like he's going to be out for quite a while. What do you make of that hit? You've been the defenseman going back in that corner.
Yeah, it's a clean hit. You have to be understanding as a defenseman that that's coming. I don't know if Adam Fox a guy like Brandon Hagel was going to hit him that hard and get him that solid, but that's just a weird spot to be in. You're kind of trying to corral the puck and pinch off the wall so it doesn't get by you to try to get back on the offense, and then you're taking this hit to the back shoulder, and that's where it's why it's a little bit more in the back shoulder, so it kind of caves your shoulders in. Those ones never feel good. I hope, you hate to see a guy get injured, and somebody who's been playing so well. I'd say one of the lone few bright spots on this Rangers team this year has been Adam Fox. So to have him go down is just a catastrophic loss for them, and for a month when they're kind of in that hunt and they're trying to find their game again. But I don't see it being a dirty in any.
No, I don't think so either. He just finished his check.
And you said something great about, because you called the game.
Yeah.
You said it just looked like Tampa was ready to go off the hop. And it's the way Brandon Hagel plays. He's nose over puck. He's going to finish his hits, so you always got to be playing every single shift.
Yeah, that's it. For a defenseman, again, you played 700 games in the National Hockey League.
I did.
You got to know who yes, you did.
Okay.
You got to know who you're playing against all the time, and so when guys are coming for you, you got to be aware. And he was kind of just there to be hit, and he got hit. Unfortunately, like that hit might happen 10 times where nothing goes wrong. In that particular case, he ends up getting hurt, and it's really bad news for the Rangers. And you're right, Fox has played well this year, and I think he had scored in 6 straight games. He had an assist in that game. So it's a big loss for the Rangers. They're going to slide Brandon Schneider up now to play in that number 1 right shot role there, and you can see what it looks like here. Now, Schneider was a first-round draft pick, and I like a lot of things in his game, but I feel like it's almost gotten stale the last couple of years, maybe because he's been in the league and he's still a young player. He's going to get a really good opportunity here. So what can we expect from Schneider in this situation?
Well, he's kind of settled into a little bit more of a two-way defenseman role, and I think he has more offensive capabilities to him. You see it. You see glimpses of it.
Yeah.
He's going to need to carry the mail now offensively. He's going to have to. They have Morrow there as well, who can do that and has the capabilities. They brought him in that trade for Keandre Miller. He has some offensive upside to him, but he's going to get a lot of ice. And these are the moments as a defenseman where you have opportunity means preparation. You have to be ready to go, and you got to be willing to understand. And these are the things that extend your career, make you a valuable asset to so many teams. Because a lot of the times when I played, I would be that second, third pair, but I could have the capability to go up and play 25 minutes if somebody got injured. So for him, he's going to get those minutes. And who better to play with than Gavrikov? I think he's a great, steady partner to have. And we'll kind of tell him, hey, just go play offense, and I'll take care of the rest. So we'll see. Time will tell.
You hate to see an injury, but with every injury, there is an opportunity for someone else. And this is a guy who was a first-round draft pick, who a lot of teams liked in the draft. So we will see how things go for the Rangers and Schneider. They're in a spot right now. Normally, I would say it's a good stretch because if you count the game against Tampa on Saturday, it's 7 of 9 at home. But the Rangers have been so bad at home, and the schedule, they've got like Colorado coming in, Vegas coming in, Dallas coming in.
Could get ugly early.
It could. So they've got to try to, we just talked about Chicago, stay on the rails, try to eliminate those stretches.
Understand what you have on the back end if you're the forward group now. And that forward group does have a tendency to get a little loose and not back check and kind of give up some out-of-hand rushes. You cannot do that. You have to protect your D-core now, and I think that's going to be a big thing going forward for that coaching staff.
And one last thing on the Rangers. Mike Sullivan talked a little bit today, I saw, about hanging on to the puck more. And guys are getting rid of the puck more. When you get a message like that from the coach, what do you make of it?
Well, I like that in the sense of, hey, okay, we want to make plays, great. And the thing I'd always used to say, if coach would say that, great, make plays. We got to make sure our forward group as a defenseman, not to blame the forwards, but you can't trust them. It's just to say you need to be in position. Because I would say when a coach would say that, I'd go to the forwards and say, I'd go to the centerman and say, make sure you're in the middle because I'm probably 90% of the time throwing this blind.
Yeah.
But if you're there, it's going to come there every single time because I know the way they're forechecking. We know that we have time and you're supporting us. If you're not supporting us, that's why defensemen sometimes will rush the play. They start rimming it. And then now forwards don't want to come back because, you see how it could just get off the rails.
Yeah.
Because forwards go, they're rimming it, so I'm not coming back. I'm just going to go where the rim's
Disconnected.
Yeah. So it's nice when a coach reminds you of that. You just now have to execute.
Yeah, so we will see where things go with the Rangers coming up. More injuries in St. Louis. You can see here from the Blues, Jimmy Snuggerud will undergo surgery on his left wrist. And Alexei Torpachenko is week to week after sustaining burns on his leg in a home accident. This is our second home accident burn situation.
What's going on?
I mean, it's just bad luck. I don't know what else you can say about it, but hopefully Alexei is going to be okay. I mean, that's a significant thing. When you get burned to the level that you can't play, that, first of all, it hurts like heck.
It does.
I mean, it's not good. So hopefully Alexei is going to be okay. We saw that happen in Florida.
Well, next CBA, private chefs for all the players.
Private chefs for everybody.
Private chefs. Give up a little money. Private chefs for all the players.
For everybody. But Jimmy Snuggerud, the Blues, it's been a tough season for sure. And now to have Snuggerud out of the lineup, that's more bad news.
Well, when you're not ready to play the start of the year and you have this bad of a start, you cannot afford injuries to top players, and that's what we're seeing with the St. Louis Blues. They kind of the last few games, you could see them kind of finding their game a bit, starting to get back to that.
More competitive.
Yes,
sure.
Exactly. But, Binnington's playing better. Hofer's starting to move the puck and play well back there. So, and then you have these injuries, 2 of them. So it's like, it's just when it's one of those years and you don't have a good start, it can easily compound and just keep rolling, and you don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. So, big loss for them and this team that's, I don't know, hasn't been able to find their footing at all.
Yeah, it's been a strange year for the St. Louis Blues.
Disappointing.
Finally, on the island, we see Kyle Palmieri gets hurt the other day, in their game. He ends up, it was such a strange play. You can see, here's a note from the Islanders, and this is really sad. We love Kyle, and he's such a hard-working player. Surgery to repair an ACL tear in his left knee is out 6 to 8 months, so effectively out for the season. And, it happened here in this game against the Flyers, an awkward injury. You see, he grabs it right away, but then, the puck kind of comes back to him. He makes a really nice play and gets an assist. Might be listen, with a knee injury at his age, that could be this could be the last game he plays in. We don't know
how bad it is. You're right. That's
a crazy way to go out if that was the way to have an assist, because he made a nice play there, even though he was obviously in a lot of discomfort.
That could be the assist of the year, maybe the decade, with that, knowing how injured he is now. And I mean, how many of these little weird ticky-tack big injuries that have happened this year with that condensed schedule? And you don't want to blame the schedule, but it is a thing. But he's been good for them. This Islander team has been a surprise, no? This year, and this
better than we thought.
I mean, he's been one of those guys that has stepped up his game this year. So you could see the stats and his time on ice and all that. But what an assist and what a gutsy play by him and hockey players, man. You got to love it.
Well,
tough.
You know how it is.
Tough
group.
But speedy recovery.
Yeah, so we hope all those guys, Adam and Alexei and, Kyle, that whole group of people, we just hope you're all the guys that are hurt.
Too many this year.
Yeah, it's been way too many.
Tough, way too many.
It's been really difficult.
What's that line, right? You're like, when it's too many, when get to start looking at it. Right?
Hey, listen, it's always probably too many, but it's a physical game, as you know, and these are the things that happen. So we hope all these guys get back soon. When we come back, we're going to play a little game of fact or fiction. The Avalanche have been rolling this year. They've been great. But can they be legendary? We'll discuss next on First Shift. Take a look at the schedule for tonight. 5 games on the slate. Devils hosting the Blue Jackets. Metchia, the Flyers, and Penguins. That one right here on the NHL Network, 7 o'clock. Looking forward to that. 7:30, Sabres and Jets in Buffalo. Ducks continue their trip to the Midwest against the Blues, 8 o'clock, and then the Sharks and Mammoth, two teams who have the exact same record, surprisingly,
big game.
at this stage of the season. It is a big game, 10 o'clock Eastern time out there in San Jose. For now, I'm going to play a little game with you. JD, a little fact or fiction. I will read a statement, and we'll decide if we think it's fact or fiction.
Okay.
So let's get right to it. Here's one for you.
A little truth or dare of sorts,
Of sorts.
but not.
The Detroit Red Wings,
Yes.
thankfully, the Detroit Red Wings will make the playoffs. Fact or fiction?
Fiction. I don't know what until they prove me wrong, I have to go against the wiser plan. And it is the wiser plan.
Yeah.
Minus 12 goal differential, very streaky. And I was very high and bullish at the start of the year on their goaltending, but it hasn't really panned out the way I thought it would.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just a bigger issue of an overarching issue defensively with them, with how their D-core is built. I think they give up way too many high-danger scoring chances for my liking in grade A's for this goaltending duo, but it just seems it's just too helter-skelter for me, so fiction.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And, when you talk about the goaltending, one guy is making saves, one guy is not. And they traded for John Gibson to be that guy. Now, it's a new situation, a whole new situation coming in from Anaheim, Dakota, Detroit. You're right. They don't defend all that well in front of them, I don't think, consistently. Todd McClellan is trying to get them there. They lean a lot on their power play, and when that's clicking, they're dangerous. But you got to get those chances. So I'm with you. I think right now we got to say fiction until you prove it right. Yeah.
Prove us wrong.
All right, here's another one for you. The Toronto Maple Leafs will miss the playoffs. Fact or fiction?
Well, I have to go fiction as well because I'm in a battle with Dan Rosen, and
Yes,
I can't give him an inch. Even though on my podcast,
Well, you should be saying fact.
Even though my podcast has said they would miss the playoffs.
Yeah, you should
So I'm
be-
all over the place.
Yeah, but I mean, if you stick to that argument you had with Dan, my recollection, you should say fact because the idea is they'll be better in the playoffs. They have to get there.
They have to get there. They'll miss, but they're a better playoff
Is there
team.
some other route to the playoffs?
I don't know. Maybe you get a little back. It's
Back door?
the secret playoff.
Yeah,
It's the
okay.
secret playoffs that plays on April.
Okay.
I had a lot of experience with the
secret-
Coyotes.
the secret
I had a lot of
playoffs.
experience with the Coyotes. The
Secret playoffs.
It's the secret menu. Last game they looked good. They found their lineup. They found their rhythm. I thought that if they can get that third line of Dakota, Joshua, McMahon, and Roy to be that third line, I think they can really kind of make some noise. But you look at the Atlantic, only one team is in, I just said it before we came on there, only one team's in the positive goal differential, the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Wide open.
Wide open in the Atlantic.
I feel like watching them so far this year, I feel like it's more fact that they will miss.
Yeah.
But listen, I think, again, the good news for the Leafs is that they have been. See, that's the difference between the Red Wings and the Leafs. The Leafs have been in the playoffs for the last several years. They feel in that room, they expect to be there. They figure they're going to find a way. Yeah. So we'll see if they can get there again. But it's been a bumpy start to the season. All right, let's go. Here's one out west. The Colorado Avalanche will set a new single-season points record, knocking off what the Bruins did a couple of years ago. Fact or fiction?
I got to go positive here. We have a couple negatives.
Wow.
I think the most points in a season, 135. I think
they're on pace for 138 right now.
The only thing that worries me is that what other of these years was an Olympic year with the condensed schedule? I know I keep going back to that, but you got to think at one point everything's went right for them. And for you to get the most points, everything does need to go right. But they are by far and away the best team in the NHL, I think. The only other team close, I think, is Dallas. But I think for me,
I like the way Tampa's playing.
I mean, Tampa for sure, but with all those injuries, I'm like, and they're playing in the East, and I still think Colorado's
clearly been the best team. You talk to people who played them, like the players, the coaches, Colorado's been the best team. I will say fiction only because I just think it's just hard.
It's hard.
What the Bruins did a couple years ago, I mean, it was crazy. I think this team probably, if they played that Boston team in a 7-game series, they probably win. I mean, that Boston team lost the first round.
Isn't that nuts when you look at that point total? When you really look at that, and you're like that team, it's like,
and
wait,
they not only
win?
lost in the first round, they blew a 3-1 lead in the first. Anyway, we won't relitigate that for Bruins fans who say, like, listen, we don't need to go. We don't need to go there. All right, one more for you. And is it going to be facts or fiction? The Oilers and the Panthers will miss the playoffs after making the Cup final in each of the last 2 years. Fact or fiction? They'll both miss the playoffs.
Fiction. I think they both make it.
Okay.
I think they both will make it in. I think the West in the Pacific, I think there's some teams that are up there. They're going to drop down. You know, the Seattles. I think San Jose. I think St. Louis. You know, I think there's going to be a path.
St. Louis has already been down.
Yeah, but like they won't, you know, make it. They were a team that was slotted to make the playoffs. The Utah Mammoth, I think.
Chicago. Where are they going to finish over 80 games?
Yeah, and you talk about a team with Connor and Leon, you can't bet against them. And then on the other side, you can't bet on them to make the playoffs. You can bet on them to lose against the Panthers. You bet your bottom dollar they'll lose against the Panthers. But the Panthers, once they get Tkachuk back, I think they're going to go on a long run. And again, once again, the Atlantic is a mess.
Yeah.
And I think Pacific too is a mess, but I think the Atlantic is a very big mess.
See, I think you've hit on something. I think both those divisions, you could say they're a mess. They're competitive. There's just a lot of up and down.
Just everything, yeah.
And so I think because of that, I would agree. I've counted the Oilers out. I mean, 2 years ago, I had them missing the playoffs early in the year, and they made it. So I'm out of that business.
They're perennial.
They have the two of the best players in the league, and so I think that they and the Panthers, I think, will still find their way to the postseason. Whether they can do anything there, I think, is another story.
Well, we look at their start the Oilers had. In the past, I think it's three years. It's not even the worst one they've had.
Not even the worst one.
And
2 years ago, way worse.
Way worse. So
way worse.
They'll make it.
Fired the coach. It was way worse, and they got to the playoffs, and they ended up going to Game 7 of the Cup final in that season. So we will see. But that's our fact.
Great game.
Or fiction. You like that,
and
right?
Sanford, the Sandman in the
back. Sandman!
The Sandman.
Doing the job behind the scenes. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning. I got to call their game on Saturday. They are rolling right now. They won 15 of their last 18. We'll talk about the Bolts. Are they back? That's next on First Shift.
Here's a chance in the high slot, and they score! It's Brandon Hagel who fired that shot, goes off the pipe and in. Goals in 5 straight now for Hagel, and the Bolts lead it 1-0. Here's a break the other way. Hagel again. Hagel in, backhand, stopped by Shesterkin, but the rebound is banked home. Brandon Hagel strikes again, his second of the game, and the Lightning take a 2-0 lead.
Brandon Hagel is a man on a mission. Woo! As are the Tampa Bay Lightning. Take a look at this. 7-game winning streak, outscoring their opponents 3-1. Penalty kill perfect. Save percentage high. I mean, it's all good news. The only bad news for the Lightning is, and it doesn't seem to matter, Victor Hedman is out, Eric Chernak's out, Ryan McDonough's out, Braden Point is out. These guys have been and the two defensemen, McDonough and Hedman, have been out now. I think it's 10 games they've missed. The other two guys have missed 4, but yet it doesn't bother the Tampa Bay Lightning. They are rolling, and in that game against the Rangers on Saturday afternoon, it was the second of a back-to-back for both teams. The Tampa Bay Lightning looked like they were ready to play at like 2:08 local time in New York. They were ready as soon as that puck dropped.
Yeah, you talk about the injuries. I feel like this team just responds to adversity so well, and they take it as like a point of pride. Yes, everybody's hurt. Our decor's hurt. We just talked about it with the Rangers having Adam Fox out, but it's like they just play better. They elevate their game. Their top guys elevate their game. Brandon Hagel, I didn't have him on my Olympic roster after the first 10 games. He's back on for Team Canada. He's back on.
Worked his way back. Congratulations.
But he's fastly becoming the motor that runs that team. You talk about Kucherov. He's the offensive catalyst, but I think like the motor is really Brandon Hagel. Just the way he pulls guys into games, and we look at these point leaders, and Chiarelli's having a great year. Darren Radish has, solidified himself as a PP1 quarterback.
He has really stepped up when you think about what's happened there with the injuries on defense. Like J.J. Moser has been playing top 4 minutes, and he is playing very well. An acquisition they got in the Sergachev trade, who was a good player for the Coyotes/Mammoth as well, but he has become a really nice player for the Lightning right now. But Radish has been the surprise because they've asked him to play more minutes. He scored a goal on Friday against the Red Wings, 100-mile-an-hour shot.
5-hole from the point.
Yeah.
When you go, if you were to tell me that a 7-0 team that is 100% on the penalty kill and that 7-0 run and their top pair defenseman is Moser, Radish, and then after that, you got Charles Destus, you got Declan Carla, you got Steven Santini.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me that's a 7-0 team. I
Yeah.
mean, credit to those guys coming in, and we were talking about it before the show, saying there's a lot of good players in the AHL, and if you draft well and you develop well, these guys can
Or
come
if you
in.
just find guys that have not worked out in other places. I mean, Steven Santini was a high pick of the Devils.
Yeah.
He's bounced around. He got traded. He was traded in the Subban trade to Nashville. That's how long ago it was. But he's bounced around the American League. But, you know, he ends up in Syracuse, and they do a good job there getting those guys into a position that if you get called up, this is what they do.
The system, yeah.
And that helps. And I go back to what I said last week about the Lightning. Culture and coaching. The culture is ingrained, and John Cooper is a great coach.
You can't say enough about Coop, and every time they kind of go on this little bit of a lull, and you're like, is the message gone stale? And he just comes out and he does the same thing. One of the premier coaches, top 3 in the NHL. You can argue an all-time great coach, best in the NHL history, is one of these guys, John Cooper. So what he's done, and to your point, great organizations with AHL and the minor leagues, they have the system set in place that it's seamless. Yeah. And the culture needs to go top down, and that's the way they do it. And this is just one of the gold standard organizations that know how to run a franchise. And, you know, there's a lot of players you can go to. You can also say the reemergence of Andrei Vasilevsky. Yeah. He's having a fantastic year. And there's one other player. Well, I'll show Vasi. We'll talk a little Vasi before I get to the one player that I'm saying is my integral piece to this forward group. But Vasi, look what he's done his last 13 starts. I mean, this is vintage. And I don't know how many of their goals you could probably look at in the past 5 games that come directly off of him making a 10-bell save. Yeah. And then they go down in the rush and they score. So that is vintage Vasi. He looks good. He looks healthy. And this is the team that, you know, you're saying they're for real. Only team in the Atlantic with a positive goal differential. Yeah. But my guy that I wanted to tell you that I think is really elevated this team since his return from injury. They're 6-0. Nick Paul.
Yeah, he's another valuable
underrated piece that is very, very good for this team.
You know, it's always a puzzle to me, and like putting pieces into place that fit, right? And like we've talked about Nashville in the past. They went out and got Stamkos and they got Marchessault, right? To me, they're the same piece at this point of their career, and people wonder why it doesn't work. Well, because the pieces don't fit. And you bring up a guy like Nick Paul, he's a piece. He fits in that group. They have Cirelli. They have guys that do different things. And Nick Paul is a big, strong, you know, not the prettiest skater, but he gets there. Yeah. And he had a goal in that game the other day against the New York Rangers. And, you know, this team is I think they're rounding back into the team that maybe is the team to beat in the East with the Florida Panthers having the injuries. I thought that what happened in the training camp with them in Florida, I think that really benefited the Tampa Bay Lightning. I watched the end of that game the other day. This team is dialed in together. Like, they had a chance to get an empty net goal at the end of the game. And I'll ask you, because you've been in those situations, I think Gensel had it. He gave it to Gord, and Gord gave it back to Gensel. And then they're just, you know, and Gensel puts it in the net. But, like, that can be a bone of contention sometimes when somebody takes a shot at an empty net, when maybe someone else should get it. And it seemed like that showed me these guys didn't care. They're just about winning. That's it.
Yeah, you talk about the culture. I mean, a lot of that core that's there was in that dynasty. Yeah. So it's like, you know, they understand. So everybody coming in, and we didn't even mention Jake Gensel coming into this
that's
team,
right.
Because you talk about a piece.
And he's been a part of winning.
You talk about a piece that fits perfectly.
And a bold move by Julien Brisebois. And you know, we were going to have Julien on today, and there was a scheduling issue, so hopefully we'll get him on later in the week. But like, it wasn't easy to move on from Steven Stamkos and then to make a play for Jake Gensel. Those are things, and I think Julien Brisebois doesn't get nearly enough credit to make the trades to get those pieces like Blake Coleman back in the day and Barclay Goodrow back in the day, and the trade for Brandon Hagel, which has turned out to be a trade of genius to get this guy from Chicago, and he comes in and he has been a really big part of their team. So I don't think Julien Brisebois gets enough credit for the bold moves that he has made that you have to make if you're going to have success.
And you know, it's towing that line for a GM of like emotion and then business decision and understanding when is the time to keep that emotional player that you might have an attachment to versus making the business decision, where I'm sure that was a difficult decision to get rid of Steven Stamkos because that is a
course.
focal piece of your
Yeah.
organization. He's so important.
Franchise icon.
And a lot of teams hold on just a little too long, and they miss that window. And this is why a team like this, an organization like this, is able to keep their window open for so long.
Yeah, no question about it. Quick thing before we finish up on Lightning. Kucherov. I think this guy is underappreciated.
He always is. He was robbed of the Hart Trophy 2 years in a row.
Like, listen, we'll have the discussion who's the best player. Like, I think the thing about Kucherov that impressed me so much is he makes everybody on the ice that he's playing with at any given time better.
Yeah.
Because he is so precise, he is so smart, his talent is so sublime that I just don't think we really appreciate what he does because he's not somebody that we see in the media a lot. He's from Russia, so English is a second language. We don't hear from him a lot. I don't think he wants to talk a lot.
Yeah.
But boy, oh boy, he's a hell of a player.
I swear God. I swear God. It's like, oh, me. Patty Maroon alluded to it, and I talked to him about it. About what he does in the offseason.
Yeah.
And since then, I've really watched him. Is what he does is he takes any drill he's doing in the summer for kids at home, he just picks up pucks off the wall, and then he starts the drill. So he takes rims. Watch him in a game get pucks that are rimmed hard to him and how seamless it's from his backhand to his forehand, and he's available to make a play. And that's a huge reason is picking the puck up in odd situations and being able to get set to make a play. Like you'd have in a game, yeah. So interesting stuff that he does, little nuance stuff.
Great note by you and
Patty
by Pat.
Maroon, shout out.
Pat will be joining us on First Shift on Wednesday, I believe.
Patty, bring it up.
I'll ask him more about it. Yeah. All right, hey, we got to give a shout out to Brendan Dillon of the New Jersey Devils. He's playing in his 1,000th game tonight. Now, this is a young Brendan Dillon here as he's learning to skate as a young boy. They showed this picture to him today at the morning skate, and here was his response, and not surprisingly, it was a little bit emotional.
What would you say to this little guy about where you are today?
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to do it.
Yeah. Just wanted to get one. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, just
want to play one game.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, just
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, it's happy. I'm just happy, excited. So thankful to playing the best league in the world, and from every coach I've had to player to teammate, it's been awesome.
What would you say to this little guy about where you are today?
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to do it.
Yeah. Just wanted to get one.
Pretty cool.
Pretty
cool. And I got
emotional.
First of all,
great
Brendan
guy.
Dillon is,
fantastic.
He's a really good guy. I've had a
is.
chance to be around him. You got traded for him, which is kind of crazy.
When a funny story, I got traded for him. We won, the Stars won that trade, so it was another masterclass by Jim Nill getting me to the Stars.
Was he the guy who made that trade, or was that like Joe Neuendijk or someone else?
Look at that. I mean, listen, it was Dillon in a third-round pick, and I don't know who that third-round pick turned out to be.
Yeah.
But,
Jason Robertson. No.
No, but listen, what's funny is we got traded, so that summer, I ended up living in his place. So I rented his place from him. So we kind of had some contact, and I got his number. So we started talking, and then I saw him in the summer for lunch. We had lunch together, and I still text him from time to time. We have a lot of mutual friends, but just an amazing, genuine human being, very authentic, and he plays that way, and he plays with his heart on his sleeve, and beloved by teammates, and he's just a great human being that you root for when you see that. And you see the love he has and enjoyed, and he's a favorite on teams and by organizations for a reason.
Yeah, and undrafted.
Yeah.
Into the National Hockey League and to play 1,000 games. It's special, and it's funny because I mentioned to you played 700 games in the NHL. I never overlook that when we have different players come in. He said it. He just wanted to play one game in the National Hockey League. For someone like me who's loved hockey, I would have loved to have played one game.
Yeah.
So I never overlook it. To play 700 games, that's a terrific career you had. It's a terrific career that Brendan's had. Pretty good stuff.
Well, it's the gratitude that you have to have for being in the league and doing something that less than 1% of people do. So, and to do it that is even a smaller number. So, for me, it started playing one game, and then you want to play 1,000, and then it drops to 900, and then 800, and then you find your milestone as a player. But that one as a kid, I'm sure, is everything, and it's just an amazing experience to be able to do as long as he's done it. So kudos to him.
Yeah. So Brendan Dillon playing his 1,000th game tonight for the Devils as they take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. We come back, Team USA named their preliminary roster for the upcoming World Juniors. We'll have John Van Beesbroek, the GM from Team USA, to discuss. That's next on First Shift. Let's take a look at the preliminary roster for Team USA for the World Junior Championships that will be coming up in Minnesota, St. Paul, starting on the 26th of December. We'll have the tournament in its entirety right here on the NHL Network. Looking forward to it. The two-time defending gold medal winning U.S. kids looking to get 3 in a row, 50th World Junior Tournament, and of course being held here in the U.S. And with that, we bring in the Assistant Executive Director for USA Hockey, the man who is overseeing all things international for USA Hockey, John Van Beesbroek. John, thanks so much for the time today. This is a busy year for you with so many things going on in addition to the World Junior Championships, but you named the preliminary roster today. It's 28 names. You'll have to let go a few kids before you get to the final roster on December the 24th, but I'll just get right to it. You're a goalie. You had Trey Augustine the last couple of years. I mean, that's a huge thing. This year, to me, when I look at it, that's the biggest question. Is that the question for you?
Well, it certainly is a big question. It's good to be with you guys talking World Junior at this time of year. It's so much fun. But goaltending is always a big category on every team that plays, especially when you're in single game elimination. But we feel we're very adequate at the position.
You have 9 returning players. How does that factor into your decision in terms of how you're going to surround them for this tournament?
Yeah, I think we're going to count on them for their leadership. Whenever you can get a crossover of so many players coming back, it's a big piece towards going into the next tournament, especially when you've had success and getting the buy-in, which is a big factor heading into these events and having experience, because normally you only get players for 2 years.
Yeah, that is one of the things in this situation. Let me ask you about, I want to go back to the goaltending. I'm not letting you off the hook on we have good goals. All right, we know the kids are good. They're on the World Junior team for the USA. But the kid Nick Kempf, he's at Notre Dame. He seems like he's maybe the front runner. Would you say that? You don't. I mean, you're picking this team, so you maybe don't want to say that right now. But what do you think about his game? What do you think about the kid Heil? What do you think about his game? Give us a breakdown on these guys. What would make them guys that could have success in this kind of tournament?
Well, Nick is probably the leader coming into camp for sure. Just playing college hockey consistently right now at Notre Dame. His play has increased. He's cleaned up his game nicely. I've watched pretty well most of his games. And so we know that we need to get consistency in the position, which is the most important part. I don't think we're going in there, thinking that the position isn't open, though, if somebody gets hot. Caleb Howell playing in Madison. First time that I've been doing this, we've taken somebody straight from the USHL, so it's a credit to his play. He's heading to North Dakota. And then AJ Rayaltz, who's playing at Penticton, played for Cedar Rapids last year in the USHL, has really emerged. He's having a great year, but we like his calm presence. So Caleb, he brings more of a active stick position. He's really good at making plays and things in good puck touches. AJ is more calm, plays a little deeper in the net, good at total coverage. But all the guys have the opportunity this year coming in. We're going to keep these 3 goalies. We don't have to let a goalie go after, say, on December 24th when we make our final decisions going into the tournament. They all have great capabilities, and we feel strongly about what we have in net.
I mentioned quickly, you touched on the 9 returning players. You got players from all sorts of leagues. You got juniors, you got the Dub, the OHL, you have Michigan, BU. When you're building the identity of the team, and now that you've won 2 straight, going for your 3rd, how much do you rest your laurels on kind of finding chemistry between lines, or is it more you kind of take the best players and leave it up to the coaching staff?
Well, there is chemistry for sure. I think we work with the coaching staff. I believe that the coaching staff will figure out all the details when it comes to power play, penalty killing, specialty teams, things like that, how we're going to do 6-on-5 and some of the specialty situations that we're going to have going on. But I think the chemistry part, as far as who can bring the most usability at each position, a lot of the times we're looking at what it's going to take to build a team. Yes, the best players are the best assets you have to go into the tournament. But take this year, University of Michigan is the top-ranked team in the country, and we have 4 players from the University of Michigan, and we didn't think that going in that we would have these 4 players, Asher Barnett being one who wasn't at our summer camp, and to raise your hand and play that good of hockey in the first part of the college season really says something. And so, but Asher plays on the defensive side of the puck. We know him well from the National Team Development Program. We know his character. We know what he's all about. So this is a big part of the process.
Is he the most surprising for you, or is there a player that really stood out that you didn't expect to see on this list?
I'd say Barnett, AJ Rails from Penticton. We had to look hard in the goaltending category, but those 2 players weren't at our World Junior Summer Showcase. And when you can be part of the mix, having not been there in the summer, that's a tribute to some great hockey.
Beezer, you have 15 forwards, 10 defensemen. You mentioned the 3 goalies. You'll keep all the goalies. You got to narrow it down a little bit. Like, ideally for you, is it 13 forwards, 8 defense? I mean, what is the numbers that you want to get to leading into the tournament?
Yeah, we'll probably carry 14, 8, and 3 into the tournament. We're going in with 1 extra forward right now and 2 extra D. And it could change a little bit if there's injury or what have you. So we leave the door open for that. But, I mean, our number is normally 14, 8, and 3. And you need to have the extra forwards. We went through, the COVID measures and all those things back in the day that led to us being short on some occasion and not being able to replace. So the IHF has done a nice job with adjusting the roster for us.
All right. So last thing, you're in, as I mentioned at the top, I mean, you're in charge with all the different international teams that Team USA sends to play. And with the Olympics coming up, you have the men's, you have the women's, you have the Paralympics.
Have you slept at all?
Yeah, I mean, we were wondering, you're probably not getting much rest these days. How is the process going in all of those different areas?
Well, I think it's been reported we're a little anxious about the venue over in Milan as it's not finished yet. But I think we are concerned about the injuries for sure at this point. But, Billy Guerin and our staff are doing a great job of communicating with each other. They're on top of it daily, weekly. Communication has been great, but our concern is our health. And we knew that going in, that February was going to be difficult. My position is to make sure that, the path is straight, things are on time and going well. But our selection process is really good. Our communication process is really good, and we're going to have a great team. Either way, the guys that we have in the 3rd position for some of these spots could probably make our team on any given year. So we're in good shape. We're gonna challenge hard for the gold medal.
All right, love to hear that. John Van Beesbroek, Assistant Executive Director for USA Hockey. Thanks for the time. I will see you in Minnesota.
Let's go.
All right, there it is. John Van Beesbroek going for 3 in a row.
3, the
Team
turkey.
USA. I love to see that. When we come back, we're going to talk about the game we've got right here tonight on the NHL Network. The Flyers and the Penguins going head-to-head. That's next on First Shift. Coming up But tonight, right here on the NHL Network, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Penguins and Flyers, the Battle of Pennsylvania, rivals in the Metropolitan Division, and they are right side by side in the division right now. And the Flyers have been a really, both teams have actually been a pretty good story this year. I don't think we expected either one of them to be in the playoff chase, and they both are. But the Flyers, they've been getting it done in the shootout, 5-0 in the shootout, Pittsburgh 0-3 in the shootout, so that's probably the difference, as you can see the division standings here. But, you know, goaltending is also a part of the shootout, and Dan Vladar, he has been a blessing for the Flyers this year.
Him and Ersson, but you need guys that can score in the shootout, but you need the goalies that can make those stops, and he has been such a surprise. I don't think anybody in Philly expected this duo to be as good as it's been this year. And I thought they expected way worse from them. So this is a super positive. And to win in the shootouts, I mean, listen, you can't get that kind of game in the playoffs because obviously there's no shootout. But it can get you there, and it can get you to the dance. And to quote the great Kevin Weeks, not only goaltending, but Trevor Zegras, greatest shootout player of all time.
That's right. There you go.
What I said to quote Kevin Weeks.
That was bold by Weeksy. TJ Oshie was shaking.
But
what do you mean by that?
He got upset. But I mean, he's not wrong in the sense that it's a guaranteed.
It seems like
every
right
time
now.
he goes in, and so much confidence. And if you're a team that understands what you're good at, I mean, you lean on that, and they seem to be leaning on that. They're not nervous in overtimes. They know that just get to the shootout, and we're most likely going to win.
Yeah, and they've gotten points in 10 of their last 12 games, 8-2-2, and now they're starting this homestand, 6-game homestand. So for the Flyers, things are moving in the right direction under Rick Tocchet.
Yeah, he's got everybody playing. They understand their identity. I think that's the biggest part. And like you said, when you get good goaltending like they're getting from an unlikely duo, that's going to give you confidence, and it's going to make you play better. And, you know, they, for the most part, have been one of the more healthy teams in the league so far. So that's a big thing with this condensed year is if you can stay healthy, you're going to have a better chance to kind of get some points when other teams are going to be, battling that injury bug.
Yeah, and Rutger McGroarty, you know him from Team USA at the World Juniors, getting called up by the Penguins tonight, so hopefully things go well for Rutger. That's it for us, my friend.
We're done. That's it.
Hey, you're the best.
You're better.
I'm okay. All right, NHL Now coming up next. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.